How's it going? Welcome back to the shed. So a bit more of a hardtail video now. I kind of thought I'd got most of it out of the way on the last one, but I was still not too sure. I did kind of like it, that just little turnout, but I think it can be better. It's not quite right. I sat on it for a few days and then decided I just got a little bit more tweaking to do to it. So that's what this video is going to be. Hopefully getting most of it done. I've only got a few hours in the shed, but hopefully get most of it finished looking right. As for the internal baffling stuff, I'm not sure yet. Obviously that's going to be more apparent once it's running and all that kind of malarkey, but I'm going to try and work it in such a way that I can it's not too much faffing to play around with that once I get going, but hopefully it will all make sense as we go along. So yep, let's crack on with a few little minor tweaks I want to make to it. Okay, apologies, every time I come in the house to do something on here I seem to have just put the washing machine or the tumble dryer on, so apologies for the background noise, but so that's where we were at, and this little bit here I'm just not liking it. I think I was looking at it and it just wasn't quite sitting right for me, and then I was just looking around, and then if I move it, it's like that straight away. That feels slightly better, having it at that angle. So obviously I was kind of doing this using that bracket in the position it's in. I think I'm going to have to just bite the bullet and realise that that's not going to happen. I'm going to have to move the bracket. And then I looked at it and I like the way it follows this line, and I think I want it to come out to about here. That's coming off, so we're not going to actually use this. What I am going to use is, I've got a bit of stainless steel pipe. Pop you down here, and obviously this is the length I got. I'm not going to use it all, but it's got the forget what degree bend that is. I kind of guessed it, and it does follow this line. Oh, let's lift up again. It does kind of follow that line. Hang on, let me get it on. That'll look better that way. Obviously I'm not using all of this. This will have to be cut down, but for the purposes of just guesstimating. Let's get it out of the way. So if we see there, that follows that line far nicer. So let's get it about there. So that's I think gonna work better for me. So I obviously need to cut down a fair bit of the length, and then put my slash cut in here. So the slash cut is going to start about there and go across. Yeah, so that's the plan for today. Gonna cut that, get that piece made. I thought, shall I weld it on to there? My welding's not that great for this sort of finish. I think it'll be fine just to slide over when I've got the bracket. So it's going to fit pretty much the same way that this fits. And then that also gives me the option to kind of use this section here for a bit of baffling or whatever I do with it. So I've got this that I salvaged out of the end can. That might come in handy with a bit of chopping down. I've also got one of these little stainless steel baffle thing, so that might come into play as well. Who knows yet? I've just got these bits to mess around with, but then that's a good reason for leaving in that kind of open as well, so I can play around with that. So the main thing is just to form this kind of the elbow with the slash cut on it. Right then, so I've chopped it down a little bit just on the lengthwise. Got a bit of a droop on, so I've got the bracket holding it up, but that brings it up pretty much parallel. and then we look down there, kind of runs with the kick out here, parallel with the frame rails, and I think a little bit of a slash cut probably about there. I'll probably take the diameter and then just square it, come across there. I think that would be the nicest. Yeah, just trying to work out, don't want it too deep, I don't think. But yeah, so I think sort of off there a bit, maybe just a little bit, yeah, about there. Anyway, so that all fits quite nicely. As you can see on this bit, now I'm in two minds at the moment. I was just going to chop it off short, as I said, but I'll kind of chop the length off here, so I've slid it all the way up to where the weld seam is there. And I was thinking, shall I mean, I could either weld it so that all becomes sort of one and just looks a lot cleaner, and that's our only join mark here. I could leave it, maybe it's not that noticeable, so this actual link pipe is there, and then that way the whole thing can slide off, and I can still mess around with this area here for some sort of baffling. Obviously if I weld it on, I'm stuck then. All I can do baffle wise is whatever I can tuck down before the bend on the cut here, or I do my usual, because this actually adds, I mean, you know, we're not going for like flipping sports bikey style weight saving, but it does add a bit of weight to it, and I'd rather not add weight to something if I can help it. So do I just chop it here and just have that as a kind of on-off bit, which is still kind of my most tempting. I think what I'll do is whilst I sort out this end, and then obviously the little bracket that's going to have to come off and then mount to here, I'll leave this long and then kind of make some decisions as I go along. It might be that it stays long and just slid over until the bike's up and running, then have a play around, see what's acceptable, and then kind of commit to either maybe weld that up. I do like the kind of clean seamlessness of it, but I don't think it would bother me that much to have that kind of cut there, and then lose some of that, and then just have this easily accessible. Yeah. But anyway, that's something I can dwell on a little bit later. But I'm kind of happy with that. I've kind of talked stuff down a little bit, so I'm sure everything's in the right place. I don't think I'm going to be able to repurpose this bracket per se. I think it's at too much of a odd angle, but there is one on the silencer which might work, or if not, I'm just gonna have to, I've got loads of lumps of stainless, so I can make something up and then practice my welding onto reasonably thin walled tubing and see if I can weld a bracket on. But I think I'm ready now to do the chop there, so that's next. But I think keeping it level, so I'm probably jumping all over the place a bit here, but keeping the pipe all level, rather than that little kind of flick up, and then because of the distortion on there, it's not the nicest cut. I think this is going to look nicer. So yeah. And I think it definitely needs to be a slash cut. I think this is just too truck looking with that sticking out there. So yeah, let's do it. Right, washing's done. So that's a little bit quieter for you, and that's it. I think little cable tie and a few rubber bungs just to get it in place. But there we go. That's with the slash cut on it. Quite liking it. I think that's in the right sort of place. the angle of the cut's kind of pretty much in that angle. I think the length's about right. So, I think it looks kind of quite groovy. Just checking it from a few different angles. But I think that is, I think this time that is more of a keeper. I'm quite liking it. So I guess 3 jobs left to do on this now. Is most importantly, don't think the cable ties are really the best bracketry, so I need to make up a bracket of some description and get that on there. Bit of some sort of baffly arrangement, which is just going to be a bit difficult. See, this is a bit I'm thinking now, trying to work out my best plan of action. I do quite like this all-in-one kind of clean vibe to it. So do I just sort of, you know, bung a bit of this down that centre bit and then weld it up, or do I just leave it as it is? Although it does look, I think, if you get up close, a little bit unfinished. I think, or maybe I don't know, clean up the cut a little bit on there. Thinking as I go along, as usual. Kind of, I think it looks cleaner all as one piece. But there's gonna have to work out the compromise, really. Like I say, I could just busy myself with the bracket for now, and then decide towards the end what happens on this bit. So I think the next thing to do is bracket. Whilst all that's cable tied and squidged in place, get some bracketry worked out. Right, so I was going on about keeping this possibly all as one piece. I was saying how much I liked the kind of uninterrupted flow of the pipe, but I've actually just changed my mind completely now looking at it again. So clamps on, ready to chop it. I've given myself a little bit extra than I think I need. I can always go shorter, but this will be enough for now. Yeah, I mean, if anything, I just thought it looked a bit heavy. The other pipe is I forget what this is, like 52mm outside diameter. So that is obviously only the cup section, and then it reduces by a couple of mil. And I'm probably obsessing over it and looking at it too much. But I felt this was all in a little bit too heavy. And I've decided, I've got the 2 join parts at the front, rather than, it's never going to be a one piece seamless exhaust. I'm going to embrace the joins, really. So yeah, it's going to hack it down. It's also going to make it easy for just putting everything back on together and playing with that baffle bit. So right, get the hacksaw, get cutting. Okay then, so there we go, chop down. Let's go and see. It's pretty square. I'm happy with that. Let's go and pop it on again and see if I've made the right decision. Okay, so I'm definitely much happier with it cut off. It's still a tiny bit too long. This is where it ends. I'm probably going to give myself about 1.5 inches of overlap on here, but rather than hacksaw it, I did have a, the tube cutter exhaust one. I have got a tube cutter, but it won't go up to this diameter. I can't find my other one at the moment, it might have broken. But the reason I want to cut that off with a tube is you get this kind of slight rounded in depression and kind of this, it just bowls it over a little bit, a lot more like the end here. It's just a nicer finish rather than just a cut off. Even, you know, sanding it, you get that, I don't know, it's a very small detail, but there is a nicer rounded off finish you get. So yeah, so that will probably end about there. The other thing I have kind of noticed now, and obviously even with it tightened up here without support here, there is a little bit of movement, and I don't think I've quite got the angle of my slash cut quite right. It could be me, just again, I'm overthinking this whole thing, but obviously when I'm cutting it, I mean, I didn't think about it, but really, if that's flat, that slash cut, as you can see, is just sort of in. So when I've had it in the vise, I've kind of moved a little bit. So it's kind of at a slightly stranger angle, perhaps. I don't know. So maybe if I had the luxury of a bandsaw on a flat platform, I'd cut it, you know, so it's that way a bit more, if that makes sense. Is it a major worry that I need to have a play around with? I'm not sure yet. It's amazing how much, at least to a anally retentive bastard like myself, just playing around with the angles, just a slight change here or there, to me seems to affect it. But I don't know, that kind of looks alright. And then I wonder if that is sloping that way a little bit. Maybe that wants to be up a bit more. No, I'm not sure, but I want to get this bang on right before I start messing around with working out a bracket. I have thought about just a clamp, that would be a lot easier, but I kind of want to weld a bracket on, make the bracket and weld it on, just for my own personal. It might not work. I'm by no means a welder, but you're not going to learn by just not doing it, so it'd be nice to at least have a go. So yeah, I just want to keep looking at that a little bit more. I've got to be careful because you can kind of move this section a bit as well while it's in situ, so you know, you have it in one position. That is pretty much the stock position. I've just run out and checked it on the other Bonneville. But yeah, I think that needs to come in a touch and have a nicer rounded cut off, and I do think I need to just alter the angle a touch of where the slash cut is here. Cool beans. Right, so that is cut. I'm happy with the cut there now. It's all kind of level. Well, it's probably not as apparent as it is in the flesh, or was in the flesh through the camera, but that's sitting far better to my eye anyway. So I've got to now cut this down to about there. I found my pipe cutter, it only goes up to 50mm. This is 52, so I'm going to have to, I did have an exhaust pipe cutter somewhere, but I do think I broke it, and it's only, I mean, I could cut it by hand again, but I do want that kind of rounded end. Let's see if we can, don't know if it's as apparent through there, but when I do it you'll see what I mean. So got to kind of work out this bracket next. So I think I'll chop off the brackets that I've got that I could possibly repurpose because they're just nice, and see if we can get one of those to work, and then I guess go from there. But yeah, this is getting far more pleasing to where I wanted it, so that's cool. Well, I'm going to just start with this one, try and chop this bracket out. I've also got this one as well, which is a possibility. So we'll have a little look. I'll chop those out, but that's bloody typical. So added to the other things we had to get, the angle grinder is now just developed a massive amount of slop in it. Don't know if the bearing's gone. So I've gone for full face protection this time, just in case. I'm going to see how this goes. Hopefully it won't disintegrate on me. See if I can cut out this this bit of pipe work, and then go from there. Okay, a bit of cutting and grinding, and so we've got the two brackets. So that was the one off the silencer, and that was the other one that was, well, originally in the right sort of place, but obviously this is being kind of bent, and there was a fold there because it was on the angle. So this one's probably not going to work out. There's a bit of the pipe cut off earlier, so let's, so we have a look. Let's go with this one first. So if that's, oh, excuse fingers. But as you can see, we're at a bit of an angle there. So which is mainly that one I could straighten out. This one is going to be a bit more, probably a bit more effort than it's worth to try and refold this crease in it. This one, however, just seems fit, and I checked the same diameter, not as thick. So that one looks like it would do the job quite nicely. So it needs a bit of clean up. I mean, I don't mind the sort of raw welds that I got on there, but yeah, I think that one might be the keeper. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm kind of running out of time, both in the shed and also getting the video up. I want to try and get it up. Well, it's going to be too late for the weekend now, so be about a day or two late. Yeah, and just kind of really run out of time on that. It's a shame. I kind of wanted to get the exhaust kind of done now, but it's like all these things, it takes a bit longer, some things go a bit quicker, but there we go. So I'm gonna see if one of those brackets works out okay next time. Try and get myself a pipe cutter. I'll see if it'll work. We've got a bigger pipe cutter over 50mm, and yeah, so the next video hopefully we'll get for the hardtail, hopefully get those bits and bobs sorted out. So it'll probably be another exhaust video. I think there's enough bits to warrant another video. I'm also at the moment filming some other little jobs on the America as well. They're not all finished yet, so yeah, I've got about 3 videos at the moment I'm kind of doing and juggling. So that's sometimes why there's a bit of a gap in between the videos and things, but they'll hopefully come out. I'll try and space them out a little bit. But other than that, that's it. So thanks for watching. Take it easy. Rock and roll.